What's up, guys? Welcome back. It's Mass Gamer here with another video, and today we'll be doing the Son Forgotten Part 3. And I haven't uploaded in like a week after every thing because I'm in school doing work, so I'm had to do it when I can. Anyway, let's begin. Scene change. Hokage's office. Inside the office of a Hokage, two figures could be seen discussing a topic that was on the minds of everyone who were associated with the newly graduated Genin. The topic being the teams that would be placed on. Heading the meeting was, of course, Minato being the Hokage. He had the final word as to who was on what team with which instructor. Given a record of each individual getting listed their strengths, weaknesses, and special attributes and other notable traits. The second was the final of the legendary signing Orochimaru. Orochimaru was considered a traitor, having been arrested after suspicion about what went on in the lab he had operated. Having no doubts about his innocence, he willingly let the Umbu led by Minato and the Jiraiya search his lab. However, what he didn't expect was to be attacked by his best friend and Minato and have suppression seals put on him. At first, he was outraged, demanding why he was being arrested, but soon the anger turned to shock as he saw what was inside of his lab. The lab, normally spotless and sterile, was covered in blood and gore. At first, he thought it was Genjutsu and someone had placed on him, but after futilely trying to release it, he knew that it was an illusion. After he was taken to Ibiki Morino for investigation, though after he asked that he have Ichi Yamanaka to prove his innocence by reviewing the past few hours of his life. They apologized and released him on seals. During the interrogation, they had found out that it was his second apprentice Kabuto who had framed him. Kabuto had been stealing information and resources from his ex-teammate Hiruko, who was banished after his experiments on human subjects were found by Orochimaru and Jiraiya. Though they were unable to find Kabuto, even multiple squads of Umbu dispatched throughout the village. After the incident, Minato and Jiraiya apologized for their mistake. Jiraiya especially, however, he brushed them off, saying that they was only doing their duty and that he would have done the same. Originally, he was bitter and angry that his sensei and the someday Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi, had chosen Minato as the Yondaime. But after Hiruzen tried to talk to him his reason, he grudgingly accepted, but slowly he grew to like the boy, thanks to Partridge Pride forcing him out of his lab to meet him with a drink from time to time. Now he was headed to torture and interrogation Fortune Man consulting when it came to building teams that he was oversaw all outgoing getting from the academy and had some insight on what went on inside their minds due to his position. That being said, Minato, what do you think of those for the potential team building of Orochimaru X? Showing Minato a diagram of multiple different team compositions ranging from tracking, assault, and support. After pointing out the candidates that would only be able to fill one role due to their skill set, he brought out a chart showing the candidates that could fill multiple roles in the squad. So far, the teams look great. Thank you, Orochimaru. Minato expressed his sincere thanks. A squad building in the past was difficult process of basically putting getting together and seeing if they would work or not. But with the Orochimaru squad to been assembled with his insight have a 94.7% rate of a successful squad dynamic. But I'm concerned about one thing. Orochimaru was a little surprised as usual. Minato almost never had qualms over the suggestion that he made, though he had a sneaky suspicion about what it was. What is your concern, Minato? It's over your children, and his suspicion was that Minato rode the back of his head in embarrassment. Minato voiced his confusion as to why his eldest wasn't included in the possible squad list. Yeah, you hit right on the mark, Orochimaru. I wanted to know why I didn't see Naruto's name on any of the squad suggestions that you showed me after hearing his question Orochimaru's side. Minato, you and I both know that your oldest son was treated like he never existed by both his family and the village. Myself included, though we both know that because of that he doesn't trust anyone, not even you. Orochimaru stated seeing how Minato about to retort. Do you know how he performed in the academy, Minato? After hearing the question, Menzo Fernando nodded his head. I do, Orochimaru. From what I hear from everyone, he's practically dead last on cabin. Even more so, the students who weren't serious on becoming ninja. His performance on the written and physical sound barely passable. It's actually a miracle that he passed. Minister said his voice thick with guilt and shame. That being said, have you ever seen his actual scores perform some written and physical exams? See, Minato shake his head in the negative. Orochimaru took out an hour survival and handed it to Minato. Out taking the opening, he didn't see what Orochimaru was trying to hint at. Seeing that Minato didn't get Orochimaru on the side, you don't see it, do you, Minato? Isn't it suspicious that his grades are more varied? How on every single exam, physical and written, he had managed to score 1 point above the failing threshold. It alone warrants suspicion, as if he deliberately tried to place himself low in order to conceal his strength. And I'm thinking about it more clearly. I'm sure that he's intentionally hiding his skills, though for what reason I'm not sure. Orochimaru said, his brows furrowed in thought. Minato just couldn't wrap his mind around why his older intentionally hide his skills if he was as skilled as Orochimaru was making him out to be. But why hide his skills? If he had the skill, why doesn't he show them to everyone? It sounds as if you're making him out to be a prodigy. If he was, he'd be the talk of the village. That's why I didn't place him with any other squads that I made Minato. I don't want you to take this the wrong way, but my personal assessment of him is that he's a potential flag risk. He trusts no one in the village because of that he holds no loyalty or love for it either. As soon as Orochimaru finished him, he was met with anger and scourge from Minato. What are you implying, Orochimaru? Are you saying that my son is a potential threat to his squad mates and sensei and threat to the village? Minato wasn't happy that Orochimaru thought of his son as a threat to the safety of his ninja and village. He knew that his son wasn't treated the best, but he wouldn't turn on the village, would he? Then Minato was feeling conflicted on this matter. Orochimaru relented. Minato, I'll sign Naruto to a squad on the condition that my apprentice be his sensei. Not only because I trust her and you trust me, but she's one of the only people in the village that will be able to assist his mental state from observation alone. The only others being myself, Jiraiya, Tsunade, Ibuki, and Suzune. But I don't think that they should be removed from their position for one Guinea, even if the Guinea is possible, unstable, and your son. Minda thought about the situation deeply. On one hand, he wanted to trust his instinct that his son wasn't a threat, but considering that Orochimaru said about him trusting no one was undoubtedly true. Eventually, he had to place his village over his son, as much as the pants to do so. All right, Orochimaru, let's go with your plan. I trust that Uncle won't be too Uncle, right? So much weary smile in return. He could only hope that his son doesn't get pushed to the edge by his sensei. When we have that settled, let's rebuild the squad then. With the ones who have the most flexibility in regards to possible position. As he brought out the roster and proceeded to highlight and circle prime individuals. Scene change. Naruto's training ground. Back in the area that he and Ryu had first met, Naruto was going over his plan for the future. Having come again in, he will also become an adult where his first order of business was to move out of the compound that his family lived in and find his own place to call home. The second regarding is much more serious topic, that being the dead last facade that he had built up over the past 4 years. It worked as he intended in getting people to underestimate him, even if he was the son of Hokage. But act seriously. But the problem now led in whether or not he actually started to act seriously. Making such a lower jump in skill would definitely raise alarms with everyone that knew him, especially his family. But considering no one ever paid attention to him, he could just write it off as him not trying because it wouldn't be worth the effort. They seemed like a plausible yet paper thin excuse. What he'd do, he didn't need to. He needed not explain his reason to anyone. The final topic was the one that was a bit touchy, but he needed to get over it. Now that he would be moving out, he was an adult and needed to get over the fact that the village basically erased him from existence. From it, erases his existence from it. While he wasn't going to betray the village or curse it, he wouldn't love it. It was just a place where he ate, slept, and worked for. The same would be applied to the people of the village. He acted professionally with his teammates, his sensei, and the merchants, villagers, and other nature, and his family. He wasn't going to let anyone near his heart ever again. He pardoned their past transgressions, but that'd be it. His plan said he headed toward his soon-to-be ex-home. Time skip 1 week later. Scene change. Konoha Academy, Iruka's classroom. Seeing the uncontained energy and excitement of his students, Iruka could only smile at them until they were ignoring the fact that the bell had rung. Alright, sit down and be quiet. Implementing his village renowned Koto no Jutsu, otherwise known as Big Head Jutsu. His students immediately quiet down and finally focused their attention on him. Good, now that I have your attention, I'll be naming the squads that the Hokage has assigned to you. Starting with the students with limited skill sets, the squad list is slowly approached around again. Team 7 will consist of Memba, Mito, and Narumi Namikaze, your Sensei Kakashi Hatake. At the moment, many groans and complaints reign about the newly dubbed strongest team, Team Hokage Kids. Most were about the loss of their crush to be on their team. Though their getting involved only let their heads pound their desks, the unfortunate luck of having to stick with and deal with the siblings even when out on missions or in have to deal with the perverted and habitually late older brother figure. After quieting down the class once more, Iruka continued. Teammate will consist of Hinata Hyuga, Kiba Inazuka, and Shino Aparame. Your sensei, Kurenai Hyuga. Team 9 is still active. Team 10 will consist of Ina Miyaka, Shikamaru Nara, and Choji Akamichi. Your sensei, Asuma Sarutobi. At that, practically broke the desk. She wasn't at when her head slammed onto it, crying about how she was put on a responsible team, while behind her Shikamaru muttered a quiet, troublesome. His eyes twitching slightly at the rude behavior of his student, and Ruka only sighed before it continued. Team 11 will consist of Sasuke Uchiha, Sakura Haruno, and Sai. Sensei Gema Shinranui. Though he was once again interrupted, Sakura rose out of her seat and flashed out a victory sign in a claiming that the power of love prevails over all obstacles as Sasuke let his head drop. Finally, for the final time, Ruka only dropped his head at his student's behavior before calling out the final team of the team would be Team 12, which consists of Yakumo Kurama, Sasuke Uchiha, and Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, your sensei, Uncle Mitarashi. At that, the class went deadly quiet, and some slowly turned their eyes towards the back where the most distant classmates said. Of course, the law was broken when Nuka announced that the sensei would become to pick them up some. As soon as the statement left his mouth, Kuruna arrived to pick up her team. Following her was Asuma and Gemma. Left in the room was Team 7 and Team 12. Team 7 already knowing that they had long waited ahead of them. After half an hour, the window flew open and followed by a kunai attached to a banner that read, "The great and sexy Uncle Mitarashi has arrived." A smoke bomb went off. Out of the smoke emerged Uncle wearing her signature grin and glint in her eyes. Oh, seeing the disbelief in the eyes of Jeannie, she couldn't help but snicker. Then, well, which of you birds belong to me? If you're part of my team, then meet me at Trinity until in 15 minutes. Don't be late, or I'll hunt you down. On second thought, please be late. It'll make things more fun for me. See ya. After saying her part, she jumped out of the window, and after processing what just happened, Naruto outside as he stood up and walked out the door to Trinity. Seeing her timidly, Satsuki and Yakumo followed him out of the door, leaving Team 7 behind. Scene change. Training ground 12. Arriving with 3 minutes left to spare, Naruto, Satsuki, and Yakumo stood awkwardly as they waited for the assistants to arrive. But they didn't have to wait long as the pouting uncle dropped from the tree that they were standing under. You brats are no fun at all. It would have been more interesting and fun if I had to find and drag you here. But oh well, why don't we get to know each other? Uncle happily said, but instead of a quick response, she got blank stares. But that was click broken when Yakumo raised her head to ask a question. Uncle Sensei, could you begin? I don't think we know the proper way to introduce her, Yakumo asked, unsure on how to break the ice with her new teammate. But her concern was limited as the sensei gave her a grin and started things out. Well, Uncle Tomidarashi is, my likes of snakes, Orochimaru-san, my best friend Kuruna, Dango, poison, shark games, and reading. My hate is perverts, rapists, and people who act like they're superior to others. Bad Dango and boring books. My hobbies working at the TIA and the I division, torture and investigation division, and hanging out with my friends. My goal is to one that's surpass Orochimaru Sensei as his princess. And then I'm done. Why don't you go next since you asked? After her introduction, turned Yakumo and decided that she was next to introduce herself. I'm Yakumo Kurama. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet all of you. My likes are reading, training with my tutor Kuruna Sensei, reading mochi, and being with my family. I hate perverts, rapists, people who mock others for stupid reasons or reasons outside of their control, and people who look down again to users. My hobbies are cooking, gardening, flowering, arrangement, and training. My goal is to repay Minato and Kushina-sama for sending off the Edo. Give me back my life and to surprise Kuruna Sensei as a Genjutsu master. Yakumo stated with a small fire burning her eyes towards the end. After her introduction, Uncle pointed to the scowling Satsuki. Nice to meet you, Yakumo-chan. You're the one that Nai-chan always talks about, huh? Why don't you go next, Miss Sunshine? As Yakumo blushed slightly, Sasuke growled at Uncle and received a grin in return. I'm Satsuki Uchiha. My likes are training, reading, cooking, and gardening. I hate perverts, rapists, weaklings, useless people, and people who break their promises. My hobbies are pretty much the same as my likes. My goal is to surpass my brother Itachi as a ninja and my mother as a woman. Sasuke said in her usual nocturnal to turn surprisingly bashful when she misses to surpass her mother as a woman. Smirking at her, uncle finally pointed to the one male member of the squad and just him to begin. Alright, well, the ladies are done, so why don't you introduce yourself, Blondie? Half a space between tuition and eyebrow or a glare. Uncle was a little surprised once she see was a blank stare for Naruto. My name is Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. I don't like many things. Though one is ramen. I don't have any dislikes. I don't have many dislikes either, though most of them are shared between us, like perverts and rapists. My hobby is training. As for my goal is to make someone proud of me. Introducing his usual deadpan, Naruto finished his introduction, though his goal caused a stir with his squad mates. I knew that he had no bones to speak of, so this person he wanted to make proud of Has to be someone special. And who would that be? Blondie, very curious. Uncle asked the obvious question. However, she was met with a passing blank stare once more, followed by "It doesn't concern you," which irked her a lot. But instead of acting on it, she decided it was a good time to let her getting know about the test that would begin. Well, now that most of us have introduced ourselves, she shot a look at Naruto. You're still not truly getting a relief yet. You are all still. You're all still. Hold on, I lost where I was. You all still have one more test that you need to get through before you feel ready. So tomorrow, meet me back here at 10 a.m. sharp and don't eat any breakfast. I promise you you'll see it again within the hour. With that, Uncle disappeared and swore to leave, leaving the Shunshin no Jutsu. After since he left, Sasasuke and Yakumo gave each other a glance. They were on the best terms, but weren't on the worst terms either. Most of them stemmed from Sasuke and Mito's rivalry. Yakumo somehow getting caught in the middle. However, they were on the team now, so it was in their best interest to get along. At least that was Yakumo's train of thought. Sasuke, I know they're not the best friends or friends at all, so why don't we start now since we're on a team? Yakumo asked, hoping that she'd separate for friendship. Sakura really wanted to just leave and go home to train or cook or do something other than get along with Mito's friends. But now that she getting an earful from her parents and older brother, she didn't at least try to get to know her. So she just decided and said to me, sure, whatever, just don't try and be all chummy with me. We're not friends, just teammates, and don't tell me so either. I'd rather not hear her complain about how I'm stealing her best friend. Nodding to Sasasuke, they began to head towards the village. Before they left the training ground, their foes. Remember, they had one more team. They turned around to see that he was already walking away reading the scroll. Looking at each other, they didn't know what they should do. They settled on trying to invite him, considering how that was the most that they heard him talk, so they assumed that it would be alright to ask. Now, sir, do you want to come with us to get dinner? We might as well consider we are all a team now. Yakumo asked as they managed to catch up to the blonde. However, she was met with silence as he was too engrossed in his scroll to notice her and Satsuki. While Yakumo was a little amused, having and had moments where she also turned out of the world when reading, Satsuki didn't take being annoyed to counter. Squalling while she stumped towards him, she grabbed his shoulder and forced him to stop. Naruto almost finished with the scroll that the Elder's Gate had given him when he felt the hand on his shoulder and smelled with the hint of Lily of the Valley. Upon turning around, he was met with an angry trial. Is there something I can help you with, Satsuki-san? Naruto asked, wondering why the usual brawling silent girl stopped him. Are you weak and deaf? We've been trying to get your attention for the past minute. Why did I have to be paired with you of all people? You out of all the other Uzumaki no Kaze. Remember wouldn't have been better. Remember would have been better. I even said for me to Sasuke went on tangent. Naruto only stared at her blankly. Hajime sighed beside her. Having had enough of her running out to poke her on the forehead, similar to her brother. And the reaction was almost instantaneous. She snapped out her rambling immediately. What are you doing, idiot? Don't touch me whenever you feel like a pervert. Sasuke shot at her cheeks tan red with embarrassment and anger. It was Yakumo decided to step in before things got even more complicated than they already are. Naruto Sasuke and I wanted to know if you wanted to get dinner together to celebrate our new status as a team and to get to know each other better. So you will come with us? Yakumo asked politely, hoping that he accepted the offer. They got the answer when the scroll he was reading disappeared in the proof of smoke. And he stared at them with blank in his eyes, ever blank. You two have a point. We might as well get to know our strengths and weakness, knowing how we can complement each other can greatly benefit us in the future, including the testimony not stated them from the stern expression on the teammate fashion. They weren't exactly thinking on the same terms. After that blank face Naruto and worry laughing Yakumo and scowling pink face Sakumo into the popular barbecue restaurants get to know each other better. For the portion of the night, there were labs heard from the booth from their past, while Naruto chose to remain silent as he didn't have many fond memories he was willing to share. Though he did share a story about the incident he was involved in that included a corporate merchant, bees, honey, ants, paint, and a bikini and a cameraman. He didn't exactly expect the normal Bruno and Skylar to burst out laughing, snorting as tears began to fall from her eyes. Oh, or the reserved and polite Yakumo to laugh so much that started crying while with her sides hurting. The night was ended with the three-parting way. Yakumo and Sasuke in better moods and a smile gracing their faces. Scene change. Uzumaki Namikaze compound. As he walked through the front door, he was greeted by the sight of his family chatting and eating dinner happily amongst each other. Though he was used to the sight, it still caused a dull ache in his heart. As he was quietly making his way up the stairs, he was spotted by his more impressive sister before he could make it up the stairs. As Narumi was happily chatting with her family about her new team, though her brother and sister lacked the same enthusiasm she had, she spotted a familiar mop of blonde hair in her night instantly brightening up even more. Standing up on her chair, Katrina instantly started scolding her, and she called out to him, Naruni, where you been? Why have you come so late? Come down here and have dinner with us. As soon as the words left her mouth, the rest of her head stamped towards where she was looking. But she never got a response as they heard the door close to his room being closed softly. Knowing that the brother wasn't going to be joining the Naru sank back into her chair and slowly continued to eat, sad and hurt by his indifference. While Naru quiet down, Mito continued looking where she had seen her brother, while longing her eyes before she went back to her meal quieter than before. Mimiko seemed unaffected by his brother's indifference, though inside he was wondering why his weak brother was doing not so late. Mimiko and Kushina were both hurt and upset by the attitude and behavior of their elders. The hurt that they didn't greet them when they got home, and upset that he made the youngest sad by his attitude. The two exchanged sad looks before they continued with dinner, knowing that the happy mood and light was spoiled. Scene change, Naruto room. As Naruto enters his room, he contemplated what would be the test tomorrow. Knowing the strengths and weaknesses of his team, it most likely things go by much smoother than having to assume what they were in the heat of the moment. Most likely they will have to go on the missions as a show precision and ability to operate as a unit. Starting tomorrow, he will be able to drop his facade and actually experience the words of capable to know me. Laying down on the bed, Naruto slowly fell into dreamless sleep. Scene change, turning ground 12. As the morning sun lay lazily overhead, Naruto, Sasuke, and Yakumo were under the Lord Sakura tree. Later in the center of the training field. Sasuke had a scowl on her face, though she was sneaking side glances at the only male member of the team. Yakumo was reading a book, and like Sasuke, she was sneaking side glances at Naruto. Full focus back to her book and repeating the process. Naruto mercenary scroll that contained information about 10 dynamics of the best operators unit, including tactics, positions, weakness, and mistakes. Eventually, the fool of the moment was broken as the sensei made her explosive entrance. Literally, a smoke bomb exploded with her jumping out of it with her signature grin on her face. Well, it looks like you're all ready for the test, I assume. Seeing the scowl, smile frown, and blank look, Uncle couldn't help but sweat drop slightly at the less expressive faces on her students. Well, then, why don't we begin? The test will be having in is a good old fashioned bell test. All you need to do is take a bell from me and you pass slightly right. Uncle said, having pulled out two silver bells out of her pocket. As soon as they saw the bells, Yakumo voiced out the concern that all again he received the test said, Uncle Sensei, but there are three of us. Why are there only two beds? As soon as the word left her mouth, Uncle revealed a devilish smirk before saying something that instantly set her getting off. Because the one who doesn't manage to get a bell from me is going back to the academy and repeat the whole thing up. Uncle chirpily relishing in the tense expression on face. Though she didn't notice that the only male in the squad had a blank stare and still in place. All right then, let's begin. As soon as she said, the two females began to rush in the room, leaving her and Naruto behind. Raising her eyebrows, she gave Naruto a confused look. You know that you're supposed to hide and plan, right? However, instead of replying, Naruto went back to the cycle tree and sat down. Opting to finish reading the scroll and partaking in the test at the moment, Uncle could only gawk at the audacity of the kid. Not only did he not answer her, which would involve her using sharper things to make him answer her, he ignored the fact that he had a test going on. She was broken out of her thoughts as the valet Sharika forced her to jump back to avoid being hit. Sasuke was angry. She was angry and tense, most of which came from the stupid test that Sensei had given them. Not only would one of them fail, but they had to go through the whole academy again, and that was something she wouldn't be taking part of. After she had hidden herself in a few minutes back, she saw her idiot with me just give up without lifting a finger. She knew that he was the dead last of the academy, but that didn't mean that he should give up and give in without a fight. Not that she cared if he passed anything like that, but then she noticed that when he was walking back to her sensei, she let her guard down and she took advantage of it by throwing a handful of shurikens and charging again. As the closing her distance between, she started to battle with her sensei off with Taijutsu. Uncle Green, seeing that there were things about him because they quickly fell into rhythm of her clan's Taijutsu. The key component of the Uchiha clan's Taijutsu relied heavily on using one Sharingan to predict the movements of the opponent and respond with quick yet powerful blows, since the name. However, Sasuke not having her Sharingan yet couldn't utilize it to its fullest extent. Clicked on the flurry of jabs and kicks. Sasuke grew frustrated, and as Uncle avoided each of her attacks like they were nothing, throwing another hook towards Uncle midsection. Sasuke had her wrist grab pulled, knocking her out of balance. Responded by twisting her body to try to deliver axe kick, but hit in the air. Well, I admit, Gaki, you're not too shabby at your Taijutsu for getting at least. Uncle Tongue seemed to have the intended to face his student face flushed red. Growling, Sasuke rushed in again, threw another punch that was deflected, quickly spinning around as she backhanded Uncle. Then that she avoided by crouching and sweeping Uncle off her feet. Regaining her balance, Sasuke quickly went through a series of hand signs that made Uncle's eyes go wide. Finished the last sentence. Sasuke glared at Uncle before taking a breath. Firing Sutun Tempodama firing off a quick basketball sized ball of water. It hit Uncle and sent her flying backwards, where she was placed with a gauged outlaw. Well, this one day I'd be torn up for sure if I got hit by that. Need to be more careful. Dropping down the other tree, Uncle praised and scolded Sasaki before she finished a rain of kunai forced her to palm a Kurami. Jumping out of the bush, Yakumo had a kunai reverse grip and she headed towards Sasuke, who wasn't happy to see her. What are you doing here? I don't need your help to get a bell. You thought you almost had her right. Sasuke was really frustrated being told with her playful sensei, but didn't sit well with her at all. Sasuke got another frustrated, but please listen to me. Her teammate was irritable. Yakumo knew she had to calm down, or as they all felt. Seeing the anger and now focus first of her teammate, Kobe her system of the current situation. And you know we need to get those bells right. From what we talked about last night, we don't know any of Naruto's skills, and going by his performance in the academy, they probably aren't the best. That being said, I don't think we'll be able to get those bells with just two of us. I don't like leaving Naruto out, leaving him behind, but I don't really see. I really don't. But we need to pay. I think will this work will or so here's the plan. They can get to the Yakumo shot a glance towards the still reading teammate before blaming the plan had DVS to say that she was surprised with the understatement. Something I always thought that Yakumo was someone who would always was all about being friends and with everyone, but seeing her leave Naruto out didn't sit well for some reason. She needed to pass, so she agreed to the plan that she created with a crafty which was crafty in her opinion. Seeing that her students were finished with their group huddle, Uncle walked out of the brush with the grin on, still in the meeting. All right, the two of you, time with your little team meeting. Come on, let's get things going. Sakumo and Yako flash through the hand scissors from their respective jutsu. With Sasasuke rushing in while Yakumo stayed back. Interesting. Sasasuke coming in apparently pressure while Yakumo is looked like setting up again just storm out. Not shabby for a couple of rookies, the uncle, as she avoided another water ball from Sasasuke before she heard Yakumo. Kashibari no Jutsu Yakuma caught her as she felt a slight stiffening in her body as the jutsu took effect. A second closer dip between her and once again diving low for the bells that were tied to her waist. As she felt the cool touch of the battle, Sasuke couldn't help but smile as plain that Yakumo made word. But as quick as the feeling of scissors came, he left it, grabbed her wrist and locked it in behind her back, making up in pain as she was forced on the ground. Gumi's reaction was the same as Scoot. Later that her plan had worked, but her hopes were crushed as soon as Sensei had broken out her genjutsu and subdued Sasuke without any problem. Into ear, Uncle couldn't help but be impressed by the show of teamwork of these two girls. There was some good teamwork, girls. Having one of you keep the pressure on me while the other immobilizing me. That was some plan, but then again, it wasn't good enough. As she finished her statement, noticed that the last member of the squad that had disappeared. He was the only one, as Yakumo and Sasuke had noticed. Huh? Where did Blondie go? Did he go home or something? Uncle started seeing the confused expression on her students. She figured that he had no idea, that they had no idea either, but as she immediately about to get off her cookie and go find her, she immediately jumped back to the board, kicked to the head that cut off a few of her hairs on her. Uncle was shocked to her eyes while she didn't notice it until the last second. If she had been in, so there's no doubt about it that she'd be hurting her even unconscious. After his kicking went out quickly as her scooting, Satsuki and the princess carrying, ignoring her shot to let her go and jump back to where Yakuma was. Putting down Scarlet Satsuki, he turned back to Uncle and brushed at her. Fast was the unanimous thought of the group as Naruto stepped in front of Uncle and proceeded to take her and touch her. Damn, he hits fucking hard. On top of that, he's fast. This is getting on bad. My arms are starting to go numb. Uncle grunted, feeling the heavy blows of her students as she blocked and parried his attack, though she was caught off guard as a kick broke through her guard and sent her slumming back. Flying out of her mouth from the heavy blow, though his assault didn't stop there as he charged in and slipped in behind her. Sasasuke and Yakumo could only let their mouths hang open as they saw the scene unfolding in front of them. The dead last of the class was holding his own against Johnny, and the Princess Orochimaru, nonetheless. Uncle was starting to get pissed. She had unarrested Brad, and he was actually starting to push her back. Her, the Princess wanted the sun, and catching her balance and turned around, she turned around with the kick that was blocked by Naruto. Following him up, she threw a heavy punch that sent her students rolling back. Now letting him get his balance, she tackled him to the ground, straddling him and pinning him with his arms to the ground. Every smile on her face and a purple glint in her eyes. That freaking hurt, Gaki. I thought you were the dead last. There's no way that you are with these skills. Why'd you hide it, huh? Uncle questioned, leering close to her face. Behind her, Shinsaku's face was once again scarlet, looking at the scene of her sensei scrolling her teammate. Next to Akuma covered her eyes. Her scarlet face matching Sasuke, but they were broken out of their embarrassment stages when Naruto shot at them. Uncle scratched him. Naruto pressed the grip she had on him and had on his wrist, and he held them tightly. After doing that, she turned towards his teammates and shouted, "Grab the bell, Satsuki Yakumo." She open. She's open. Grab the bells now. Hearing that, their teammates actually shouted at them. The two quickly rushed towards their now immobile senses to grab the bells. After hearing that, Uncle tried to break free, but her student's grip on her wrist wouldn't budge, knowing that it would be futile. Uncle just sighed, knowing that it was chasing. Minutes later, Uncle sighed, but then she gave the three getting a grin. She knew that unintentionally they all managed to figure out the test. Congrats, Brett, you all passed. She congratulated them. She it was asked the question at hand by Suzuki. But Sensei, we was only two bells. What does that mean? Well, Sasuke was having an internal debate as her intentions of wanting the bells. Nakamura was having a similar situation. However, the inner thoughts were broken by Uncle, who revealed the true reason behind the test. That's true, but the real reason for the test was to test your ability to work as a team. At first, you were all going to fail, but with this little stunt at the end, I can see that you all have a future as a pretty powerful squad if we could work out the kinks. So yeah, Team 12 is official. And with that, with the words left from Masaku Yakumo with a dazzling smile while Uncle gave them a grin. Ali turned to the only man member of the team. To Kurushakinar, he had a small smirk on his face that though advanced quickly. Sakamu and Yakumo quickly turned their heads away. The cheeks flushed with Uncle Vita pretzel grin. Well, looks like things are going to get interesting after all. A Son Forgotten, Part 3. Okay, guys. Look here. Okay. I'm making an Instagram. It's gonna be called Mass Gamer 9801. So go check it out on Instagram. And like and subscribe, comment, share, do all of that. And I'll see you in the next video. This video was kinda long. So I'm gonna be taking a break. I'm gonna make one when I can and all that. I told you school and everything, but it's gonna be coming. I'm gonna make another one. I'm gonna produce another video too. So I'm gonna make another video. It's gonna be a whole new series. It's gonna be the next video. So the Son Forgotten probably won't be dead in another minute because I'm gonna be throwing out like a bunch of the new what if I'm finna make. So get ready for that one. And yeah, see you in the next video. Peace.